precious evening of your time as you create time to exist. Are you all alive?
Yes.
Thank you. Allow us to lay down some foundations for this interaction this evening of your time. And if I may say so now, I will be a little bit more long-winded than usual. The idea is simply that there are a couple of ideas that we wish to discuss. The first one shall be a very important point for many individuals and something that we will further a discussion of at other times as well. But for now it may simply be entitled Overcoming Inertia. Now, we are referring in our analogy to not only what you may call the physiological form, the scientific definition of inertia, but also the sociological form. The idea of overcoming what seems to be a sluggishness or an impedance to you moving at the rate you prefer to move within the endeavors you say you want to be involved within. There is a similar definition for both. This definition, with a very slight change, can be applied not only to the scientific idea of inertia, the physiological, the physics idea, but also the sociological one. Now, the idea as your society understands it, to put it on a very simple level, is that inertia usually, as you say, represents the tendency of an object to remain in the condition or the state that it is in unless acted upon by an outside force that moves it in another way. The idea, however, to us, from our point of view, is that inertia is the effect, an effect that is created by the relative interaction between dissimilar frequencies of matter. To put it on the sociological level, and perhaps to underline the physiological definition, social inertia, that sluggishness, that slow moving, that idea of having to overcome what seems to be obstacles, is the result of the effect that is created by the relative interaction between dissimilar frequencies or states of being. In other words, any time you have in a physiological object non-homogeneous, disassociated, disconnected objects, each of those will have a different frequency, a different idea, a different definition of itself relative to everything else. And to define this analogy more clearly, let us take the notion of many of your technological vehicles, your spacecraft, your automobiles, and so forth. When you deal with inertia in the physiological realm that you live in, it is usually defined by the following analogy. Let us say you have a vehicle. Let's say for now it is simply a box, a hollow box. And there are passengers within it, little objects that you put in the box. And now you take that box and you fling it with all your might against the wall. Well, now you know what happens to the objects inside, and sometimes even to the box itself. The idea is that, as you say, the inertia of the objects at rest remained at rest, and when they impacted the wall, their motion was abruptly changed, and they simply, as the motion kept going, rest relative to the box, they were still moving relative to the earth, they kept going and smashed up against the front of the box. Now, all of you understand this example in physical terminology. However, many of you have realized and recognized that within our spacecraft, we seem to exhibit properties that would indicate that we are inertia-free. That these craft can move at what you say many thousands of miles per hour and can stop abruptly or execute very sharp angular turns at seemingly no harm to the occupants. The reason for this goes back to the definition we have given of inertia. That it is an effect created by the relative interaction between dissimilar frequencies of matter. So, what we have done in our technology is to create a type of field, a type of energy. We have created the craft's substance and the occupant's substance and the air within the craft, its substance, to all operate on the same frequency. So it all becomes ethereal matter. Thus, the spacecraft, the air within it, and all of the occupants and any other loose artifact all function as one homogeneous substance. It is more analogous to the idea of having a solid block rather than an empty box full of separate particles. Or it is perhaps more analogous to the idea of taking that hollow box with all of the separate occupants and filling it with a substance that immobilizes everyone, so that it does act like a solid object, and so when you throw it against the wall, because they are immobilized, all the objects within the box simply cannot move, because they are held within a type of pressure field. Now, this does not mean we cannot move around within the craft. It simply is, however, that the atmosphere within the craft, and I do not necessarily just mean the breathable substance, but the entire energy atmosphere of the craft, its entire energy reality, is of one vibratory frequency. Therefore, the entire craft functions as if it were a solid object. So it can stop abruptly, it can make right-angle turns, and the occupants do not even know they are moving, because relative to the craft, they are immobilized within that energy reality. Sociological inertia can be similar. The only reason there is resistance and friction in your life is because you may not be of the same frequency as the idea, the event, the vehicle you say you want to be a part of. Therefore, if you are traveling at one rate because of your definition of yourself, and the idea is traveling at another rate because of your definition of it, then if it all of a sudden stops or takes a right angle turn, you are usually turned into emotional jelly. The idea, therefore, is to begin to understand that the way you overcome that inertia is to, as we have said many times in many different ways, accelerate and uplift your vibratory frequency to match that of the event in your life you say you desire. Be, in other words, equal to the idea, and do not consider yourself nor invalidate yourself to be anything less than that idea. Then your frequency will not be dissimilar. You will not experience the idea of resistance and friction in your sociological interactions, and you will move in an accelerated manner, smoothly, as one with the event itself, traveling, so to speak, through the changes in that event at the speed of thought, in a very smooth way, a very homogeneous way, because you and the event will be one, shall we say, solid idea, not made of various components that can become jumbled up and detached, but one interconnected, homogeneous idea. So, the way we have discussed many times to do this is, of course, in accelerating your energy, it is doing the thing in your life that excites you the most, and knowing that when something does excite you, it is who you are, and feeling equal to that idea, and not thinking, oh no, that's too big for me, I can never handle that, I don't deserve that, that's going to be difficult, I have to overcome this and this and this in order to do that, I'll never be good enough, and many other ideas that keep your frequency lower or at least different than the idea you say could be so exciting. Be at one with your vehicle, and it will carry you anywhere, as fast and far as you want to go, smoothly, effortlessly, and with absolutely no inertia to overcome, because you'll be on the same track, in the same frequency. Everything will be, in your terms, no longer, quote-unquote, differently relative. It will all be from the one point of view that you desire to be. And your vehicle will then be seen to be an extension of you, even as we understand that, even though we use the format you call spacecraft, we know they are literally an extension of us, even as any physiological object is. Your own rocket ships, your own automobiles, your own airplanes, your own boats, any vehicle, any idea, your own bodies, they are an extension of the idea that you are. They are a representation of the idea that you are. And they are absolutely representative of the frequency you operate on and the acceleration that you believe is possible in your life. Second idea, to add some more wind into the conversation. There will be, and have been for a while, many ideas now coming up regarding the issue of spirit versus will. All right. There are many, many, many areas of information that are now coming into your society regarding the notions of spirit and will. And for a long time, your world has denied the idea in many ways and in many forms of what you call your physical consciousness when you deal with spiritual matters. The idea we have outlined many times is simply that you cannot really, quote unquote, become more overall spiritual by denying one level of spirituality, one level of reality, the physical reality. Physical consciousness is just as important and just as powerful as the idea of spiritual awareness. And they must be blended, 50-50 as you say, or if you wish, 100-100, fully validated and equal ideas coexisting as partners, doing the work they need to do together in order for any individual to realize themselves as a complete being. Many individuals now, because the idea of the will has been so suppressed, the idea of conscious desire so suppressed in your society, now when they deal with spiritual matters and regain a bit of awareness of who and what they are, will tend to focus on that spirituality at the sake of the physiological consciousness, at the sake of the conscious decision-making capability. You cannot forsake either one. For to go into the idea of pure spirit and not allow the idea, after having chosen to be physiologically present, not allowing the idea of your physiological will to exercise itself, in a sense, will allow you to be a physiological puppet. The idea of allowing the will absolute free rein without the spirit blended into it will allow for what you call negative ego. Both must be present in order to be a balanced being. Otherwise, you are a hollow shell denying your physical existence, or you are a physiological demon running in rampage of negativity through your physical world with no connection to higher realms. Now, the idea for why this disconnection has occurred is due in great part to the one particular attribute called denial. The idea of self-invalidation on many levels. There is a long, shall we say, history in your society of the many different ways that this denial has come about, and right now is not necessarily the time and place to outline every single one of those steps. That information to some degree already does exist in many works of literature upon your planet and is always there for the finding. But the idea, to put it on a simple level for now, is that spirit, that upliftment, that energization of spirit and will, the conscious decision-making commandment of your physical reality, are both blended very simply and very easily within the crucible of unconditional love. That is all it takes. That fire of desire, of unconditional love, is all it takes for both spirit and physiological will to blend, to merge, to marry, and to become one homogeneous representation as the being that you are, so that you are connected to both heaven and earth, as you say, in equal measure, perfectly balanced. In that balanced state, then, all worlds, all understandings, and all connections are possible. But not at the sake of one or the other. They are equal partners. As you express yourself within the polarity of physical reality and have created the notion of spirit and will, they must be equal partners, fully blended. We thank you for allowing us to share in this way at this time. We thank you for co-creating with us at this time these interactions so that your world and our worlds respectively may grow together in their own ways and yet also within each other to share the dreams that we can become, to share the dream reality that we can create, wherein anything is possible. We thank you for functioning as ambassadors of your society at this time and allowing me to function as a representation of our respective societies. You are a gift to us, as we have shared with you many times. And we are overjoyed and ecstatic at any opportunity to perceive within you an awakening to your own self-empowerment. Anytime any of you is willing to shine, the universe is made that much brighter. And we thank you for your willingness to discover who and what you are, and for allowing us to reflect back to you who you already know yourselves to be. In return for this gift, I ask you now, how and in what way may I be of service to you?
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
We had a talk a month or so ago about a interaction that I had with an individual that was a physical interaction, an altercation.
Altercation, all right.
And it ties so well with the idea of inertia, spirit, will.
All right. Thank you for the synchronicity.
Really. We seem to be at a stalemate as far as any kind of communication. There's a lot of rage and vengeance and ideas like that. And
how are you at the communication within yourself, then? Are you communicating clearly to yourself the ideas that you are working through? Are you, in your terminology, in your reality, resolving the issues within yourself?
Yes, very much and very actively.
All right. Are you then comfortable with the reality that the interaction has allowed you to design for yourself?
It wouldn't be my preference to choose this way again.
All right. You do not have to. But also remember, no matter how any individual chooses to interact with you, you will only get out of the interaction whatever reality you are the vibrational frequency of. You don't ever have to buy into someone else's approach. You understand?
Yes.
So you can use the interaction to simply understand what their reality is as compared to what reality you prefer to be. And you can thus allow that interaction to boost your reality, to solidify your reality, so that you can give them back a reflection of what that interaction has created you to be, so that if they choose to, they can key off of you what you have solidified yourself to be to determine whether or not they wish to change. As long as you believe, honestly, with honest communication within yourself, that you are functioning to the best of your ability within all the integrity you can muster, then no matter how they choose to interact with you, you cannot be responsible for that. All you can do is give them back unconditional love based on the being you chose to create yourself to be out of that interaction. You follow me?
Yes.
In terms of what you call a stalemate, the idea is simply that. You do not have to take responsibility for their choosing or not choosing to change, even though you might have. You understand?
Yes.
You can simply get on with your life being the person you have chosen to be, and knowing that whatever interactions you automatically attract yourself into with that individual, you will simply still learn whatever it is you need to learn about being yourself, and at the same time you can be of assistance to them. You can offer that opportunity. They do not have to take it. But it also does not have to be at the expense of who you choose to be. Understand?
Yes.
Is this helping?
Definitely.
Anything else?
I'd like to go over the idea of co-creation.
Co-creation, yes.
Right. I asked this individual to be here so that we could ask one or both of us about these ideas.
Right.
And again, I'm the only one here. Is every interaction, no matter what level, emotional, mental, physical, a complete, equal co-creation? And the equal responsibility of each individual?
Yes, it is an equal co-creation and equal responsibility. However, there will be relative degrees of what it is you are getting out of it as opposed to what they are getting out of it. It can be completely different lessons, completely different ideas that are being observed and integrated or not integrated. In other words, just because you may attract an individual that acts a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that their particular attitude is exactly a one-for-one mirror reflection of the things you specifically need to work on. The idea, however, is that it is an absolute co-creation so that it serves both of you to work on whatever it is you need to work on that you get out of the interaction. Sometimes it will simply be that if you do not necessarily have that particular area to deal with, and they do, you will be willing enough to attract them so they can see your type of reaction, so that from your reaction they can learn that perhaps there are other ways they also could act in life. It may be more of a teaching for them, maybe not as much of one in the same way for you, but that doesn't mean you still can't get something out of having been of service to them. You understand?
Mm-hmm. And vice versa.
And vice versa. Absolutely. Be open and honest and vulnerable and receiving to anything you could get out of any interaction. And always be willing to serve them unconditionally, but not at the expense of being the person you desire to be. But it is always an absolute co-creation. And yet, of course, paradoxically, at the same time, you are always, in a sense, only interacting with another aspect of yourself. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it is 100% on both sides. Not even the notion 50-50. It is 100% on both sides. But you will get different ideas out of it.
Where does the idea of compromise come in within that resolution?
Thank you. What you typically call compromise does not, again, necessarily have to be at the expense of anyone's reality. The notion on the positive side of what you may call an agreement or a compromise that is amiable to both parties is to trust going in that there is some reality that you can attract that represents what you both desire to be. And that that reality fits. And that you both fit into it. And that you can attract it, you can find it. You can create it in your life. And that you will be able to find all the factors necessary automatically coming in that serve you both in exactly the ways you need to be served. The only way that someone would not feel that is happening is if perhaps they have certain negative expectations about what they think they ought to get out of it and aren't necessarily being honest about what they really need to get out of it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Does that help you?
Yes, so actually, whenever there's an interaction, such as this or any interaction, there is a perfect point where where there's a common ground. Where
always between any polarity expression of two sides, there is always a third alternative that serves both. Because you being the polarity on one side and the other individual being the polarity on the other side automatically by definition indicates that you are on different sides of something in the center. That your existence as polarities is given birth by that common idea that exists in the center, and all you need to do, so to speak, is work your way backwards to that common center and find out what common center gave rise to the polarities you experience yourselves to be to begin with. Understand?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes. Any insight as to what that point is?
You will find it, you will feel it. It always will come from trust and unconditional love. You'll know when you have it.
Okay.
Relax. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shooting.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Good day to you too. Last week on my way over here, I got into a car accident.
Oh, how exciting!
Yes. Was I trying to raise my vibratory frequency rate?
You were at least making an attempt to show yourself something. Now, many individuals can allow their vibratory rate to be accelerated by that kind of an impact of information, but it will depend upon the individual. What do you feel that particular circumstance got you to look at about yourself? What kinds of things have you been examining about yourself since that time? What have you looked at that you may not have looked at had you not experienced that idea? We're not necessarily saying you had to do it that way. But since you did it that way, what have you looked at that you may not have looked at had you not had that experience?
Being here now.
Being here now. All right, many individuals will place themselves squarely on the line, place themselves in a situation that may seem dire physically, so they will force themselves to live absolutely in the present. That is one way. Do you think that is a sufficient idea? Can that be the entire lesson? Do you feel that completes the understanding of why you would have had to create that kind of awakening?
Possibly.
Maybe. All right. Anything else? What else have you been examining?
I'm not sure that I'm examining anything more now than I normally do. I've been examining...
May I ask you a personal question?
Yes.
Thank you. Were you, to put it simply, paying attention to your driving?
No.
Why not? Where were you?
I wasn't here now.
All right.
That's for sure.
All right.
I was floating somewhere.
All right. Then the idea can simply be representative that as you accelerate, keep your feet on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Stay connected. This, once again, is the whole idea of not allowing your explorations of spirit to take you out of physical will.
Mm-hmm.
To remain focused, to be grounded, as you say, to be balanced, as you say, with all your explorations, and whatever you are doing at any given moment is the most spiritual thing you need to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that even driving one of your automobiles, though I know many of you may not think so, is a very spiritual act if you do it in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Really?
And so, it can teach you how to extend your senses in physical reality as well as extending your senses into the non-physical realm. The creation of dream time. The creation of your physical reality to become less solid. The creation of your dream reality to become a little more solid seeming to you. Mm-hmm. Does not have to take you out of sync with the reality around you.
Why would one float like that? Isn't it an escape?
It can be.
Isn't it fear from fear of oneself?
It can
coming
be.
Close to
It can
yourself?
also simply be that now that you have discovered that idea, it simply felt so good, you forgot where you were.
Mm-hmm.
Can be both ways, can be both sides. It's up to you to determine which is true for you and deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Can be either. But the idea did bring you back to focus at the center.
Definitely.
All right? Then simply remember, the idea of connection of your senses to your physical realm is just as important as the connection of your senses to the non-physical realm.
Yes.
And that you can be in synchronous harmony with all of it.
Yes.
Understand?
Absolutely.
There are also a few other issues that may be coming up for you regarding the notion or the definition of your vehicle, your mode of expression, what gets you from here, as you say, to there.
Mm-hmm.
These issues may also be coming up, and many of them, as we perceive your energy, will be probably processed in your dream reality.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the idea is to keep your feet on the ground and to understand also that no matter how fast you start to go, you can still remain in synchronous harmony with the physical reality you are changing in. You don't have to assume that acceleration or going at a different pace than everyone around you must mean that you must interact with them in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
There is room for all, and everything fits, and one individual can be going this way, and another individual can be going that way, and you can pass right through each other without harm. But the way to do that most strongly is to remain firmly focused where you are. Not where you are going, where you are, and all your immediate surroundings. Understand?
Yes. Can you give me a suggestion? Because so many times I do.
Thought I just did.
Even beyond a more pragmatic suggestion, keeping myself grounded.
Define pragmatic.
When I catch myself floating,
Yes.
in what way can I help myself to be in life's experience now?
What do you experience when you float? What kind of a feeling, what kind of information comes to you?
Oh, it's infinite.
Oh, all right. Do you understand that the physiological reality is a part of that infinity?
Yes.
All right.
I also understand that I've been avoiding that.
Why? What is it about the definition you have of physical reality that makes it something you want to avoid?
I'm not sure.
Come. Give it a name, give it a face, give it some form of identity. Use that imagination like I know you all can. For now, it's all right. Use it in a negative way. Figure out, by giving some life to that idea, the negative notions, the negative definitions within you, what it is you believe physiological reality offers you that is so fear-inducing.
Self-denial.
Self-denial. Do you mean that as long as you are attached to the notion of a physiological reality, you feel impoverished?
Yes.
Why? Are there not in physiological reality riches enough for all?
Oh, absolutely.
Then why not riches enough for you?
Mm-hmm. I think that it's connected to old beliefs.
All right, old beliefs. Fair enough. Do you want those old beliefs?
No.
All right. Do you have to know what they are in order to understand that you simply prefer new beliefs?
No.
Can you design some new beliefs?
Yes.
All right, design them and implement them. Know that once they are designed and once you have approved and placed your signature on the blueprint of a new belief, that it is now being carried into effect and constructed into your reality. In a sense, that might ground you. I will give you one other pragmatic suggestion. When you design those new beliefs, take what you would call a piece of wood, a nice, heavy, thick piece of wood, a nice, heavy, strong nail, and a good, solid hammer, and pound that nail into the wood as a meditation.
Okay.
That will orient you toward the physical and allow you to feel that you are constructively involved.
Right.
You understand?
Yes, absolutely.
That can ground you. All right.
I'm going to do that.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful time.
I will. Thank you, Bashar.
Sharing.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Perfect, and you?
Right?
Oh.
No, it's great, It's great, all right.
Yes, yes. All right. Are we continuing where we left off?
Yeah, good.
All right.
I'm ready.
You are? All right.
So, give me a fresh new point of view.
Oh, all right. Do you remember the last one we gave?
No, that was a question. That was not a point of view.
Oh, it was a point of view. Question can be a point of view.
Yeah, okay, but...
I'll put it in more of a statement form if you wish.
Okay.
Thank you. If you are now ready to place both feet firmly on the deck of your ship and acknowledge completely that the energy you know you are connected to can come through and not remove you from the physiological reality in which you exist, you can own that power, own that energy in a loving and an enlightening way, and that will be more than sufficient to blend and balance the energy that your sun is reflecting to you about the polarities that you each represent in terms of your original societies that you stem from. Understand?
Yeah, you're talking about Your
sun
yes.
is more connected, and in no way, shape, or form is what we are saying, meaning that they necessarily will exhibit this energy in the classical sense in this life, but there is a very strong connection, as you already understand, to the ancient Orion energy. The idea is that you have a different connection in a very different way. And that, all that to some degree is being shown to you by the notion of the will of the sun and the notion of the spirit of the mother is that you both need, as we have already outlined, spirit and will in combinations that recognize and acknowledge what your energy is. So, you have a reflection from the sun of the will without the connection of the spirit completely. And you have a recognition of you, of spirit, without the idea of bringing that down to earth as will and conscious commandment. So you are being offered an opportunity to own the will, even as you are offering him an opportunity to own the spirit, so that both of you can be blended and balanced, but in your own way. Not that it will make you alike, per se, but both of you will acknowledge each other as representatives of the energy you are connected to, and both feet, in both cases, will be firmly on the deck of your respective vehicles. Understand?
I understand. Okay, a point of view about why just that specific individual.
Because it hits you where you live. It's your sun.
Yeah.
And the idea is that now many of the children are teaching the adults. And he will be the one and the only one you would listen to. The only one that can really affect you that way. The only one that can really push your button. That's why.
I got it.
Does that help?
Well, not right now, but, I'll let you know when it does.
Oh, all right. May I ask you a question?
Go.
If, for a moment, you take an opportunity to feel yourself standing on the deck, are you comfortable with that?
Mm-hmm.
In what way?
Well, in the way that I feel everything within, and there's no need out there, It's really complete and it's comfortable and...
All right. Now that completion, that degree of comfort, is there some specific way that you really do desire to funnel that through into your physiological reality that you're not doing? Or do you wish to simply be an observer? Do you feel like only an observer on that level?
No.
All right. How do you feel you are, quote unquote, using that energy to participate in the physiological reality in which you exist, aside from the interactions with your son?
Oh, I use that energy to, create as it comes and just...
Create what?
Anything.
Anything and everything. Anything specific?
No.
Why not?
Well, just because.
Because what?
Because.
I'll wait.
Well, there's nothing specific. Well, if you want specificity.
Yeah.
Just,
Yes.
I forgot my microscope. Jeez.
Living in the moment. It's all well and good.
Well, that's what I mean. Creating. Just.
Yes. Living in the moment is all well and good.
Okay, well, that's...
However, once again, we are back to the notion of direction that is given to you by your conscious commandment. Direction. Your son has an amazing amount of direction.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that it cuts like a knife.
Yeah.
And is very abrasive in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you are, because of your energy, a slightly more, shall we say, ethereal being.
Ethereal?
Ethereal. Not necessarily wishing to be, in your terminology, dragged down into such a dense reality.
Yeah, I like this dense reality.
Yes.
I'm enjoying it.
On one level, yes.
Yeah, I like to experience it. I like to learn to be around it and totally be happy in all these, all these limitations. And I'm enjoying more and more to just be happy like that. But even though everybody says they're unhappy, I think I'm happy.
All right. May I ask you something else?
Go for it.
Would you be... Oh, thank you very much. Would you be as happy
if
you were occupying the physiological chair now occupied by the channel?
No.
Why not?
Well, I don't know what it feels like really, and I don't have right now any excitement as sitting in that chair or whatsoever.
All right. What does doing that represent to you?
Well, I guess there's something else to do, to learn and to experience. But right now I don't feel like experiencing that.
All right. We are not necessarily saying that you have to.
No, I got that.
Well, thank you. However,
okay.
Because of the energy present at this time, because of the state of the interaction right now, and because of the process, there may not be much detail that we can go further into. However, it is our sense, for whatever you wish it to be worth, that there is something about that scenario and about that analogy and about that type of connection to other individuals and about that type of interaction to a grand scale of individuals that is somehow the crux or the heart of the issue of your interaction with us at this time.
Well, my heart is pounding.
Yes. When I say you are bigger than you think, how does that make you feel?
Well, let me think about it 2 minutes.
Why 2 minutes?
Bigger than I think.
Yes. You are bigger than you think you are.
Okay. I'm bigger than I think I am.
How does it make you feel?
Well, deep down it says, well, I knew that. And
all right.
In a way, okay, fear,
Of what?
Gee, boom, explosions.
All right.
But too big.
Too big. All right.
For right now.
All right.
It's like using it little by little, letting it
All
out
right.
instead of opening
All
the
right.
valve,
I'll ask you one more question if I may, and that may suffice.
Okay.
Are you afraid of being held in awe?
That's good. That's really good.
Thank you.
Right to the core.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll let you ponder that if you...
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy travel.
Thanks.
Sharing!
Yo, Mr. Representative.
And Ambassador.
Greetings and salutations.
And to you as well.
Thank you. I believe you've defined abundance as being able to do what you need to do when you need to do it. Is that correct?
The ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it.
Didn't I say being able to?
Yes.
Okay, same thing, I think. It doesn't say anything about being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. How do you reconcile those? Now, before you answer...
Yes.
See, it's kind of a rhetorical question because I want to answer it before you have a chance to
Well,
open...
thank you.
Before you have a chance to open Daryl's mouth. You got me, Bashar. What can I say?
You share.
Well, I think it has something to do with what you've been referring to as conscious commandment.
Very good. Keep going.
And I've been exploring this, and for a couple of years now or so, I have maintained a very positive attitude and trust and belief that if I act on my excitement, think positively, a lot of other things which I could enumerate but which I won't,
All right.
that things will really actually accelerate and work out very, very well. I'm in a period where I'm not experiencing that, and I'm questioning the beliefs and questioning the attitudes that I've
All right.
had toward that.
All right.
And it comes down to, I believe that I have applied a conscious commandment in order to get what I want when I want it.
Yes.
But yet, apparently what I'm getting is just what I need when I need it, and I don't like just that. I want more.
Ah, now you are standing on the crossroads. And in a sense, we were wondering when someone was going to catch the idea of the definitions between need and want, as you have done.
Yes.
It is all absolutely centered on defining that idea and aligning the idea of want and need and operating on a level where they are, in many ways, the same thing.
Okay.
It can be handled in many directions. It can be consolidated down to the idea of simply enjoying everything that comes along, because if it is there, it is worth enjoying. That's one level. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, by going through that doorway, it can be having exactly what you want, exactly when you want it, exactly the way you want it, because there really is no reason why you can't have it that way, as long as that comes from absolute unconditional love and not from the idea of the negative ego. Once that has all been cleared out, there really is nothing that stops it. And you now, arriving at the point of recognition that there does not have to be a difference between what you call a need and the want, in that sense, that can propel you very strongly towards your recognition that you really have the ability to, as you say, miraculously and magically manifest what you want when you want to. You have now truly opened that door by recognizing, first of all, that those two terms can be interchangeable, which many individuals have not up to this point.
Right. Well, let's explore this further.
Oh, what?
Although I do see the concept of the interchangeability, somehow I also have a concept that perhaps our needs are defined at a level, let's say, higher than the outer aware conscious, physical conscious level, whereas our wants that I'm using, that term, is defined at the outer aware conscious level.
Because you have also just now illustrated something very important about your society's definitions of the two terms, want and need. Needs are usually defined by your society as something below your wants. Wants are usually defined as something above your needs.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
All right, keep going. You're homing in nicely.
All right. Well, if one's what needs are defined at a higher level and we have not accessed that level. Let's say, for instance, our needs are to really experience, I'll say deprivation. You and I had touched on that with you before. And we go, well, I don't want to feel deprived. I don't want to experience deprivation.
All right.
But at a higher level, consciousness is saying, you're going to experience deprivation. You can create the idea.
No. You will experience the notion and the lesson and the information of the idea, the concept you call deprivation.
Isn't that the same thing as experiencing it?
Not necessarily physiologically. Remember the library analogy.
Okay, fine.
If in experiencing physiological deprivation, as we have said, you can understand why you would have chosen to show yourself that experience physically, you can then determine to experience that energy, that information, and receive that knowledge in another type of experience. Yes, experience in many ways is necessary for knowledge, especially in physiological reality. But it does not necessarily have to be always the absolute actual experience of the negative in order to have an experience that gives you the information that you could get out of having the negative experience.
In other words, if you can get the information out of imagining it, that's all that suffices.
Very good. And now you have hit another nail squarely on the head. What this actually involves is the multidimensionality you allow your imagination to be. This is fundamental to the creation of dream time, and I do not mean while you are asleep. I am now talking, when I use the term dream time, as something that represents, in many ways, being awake, but being in the dream, living that dream, and allowing physical and non-physical reality to blend as one idea. So, this idea of blending and elevating the vibration of your needs to be aligned with the idea of the lofty wants is found within the imagination, and to whatever degree the imagination can be allowed its true dominion will determine your availability of alignment between needs and wants and allow them to be one thing and not two separate ideas, two separate issues. So you have hit the nail on the head. It does concern imagination directly, but what it more precisely concerns is your ability to really allow that imagination true multidimensionality.
How do you apply this then? How would I apply that?
It does, to some degree, come down once again to definition, and shall we say, cleansing the definitions you no longer prefer out of the imagination, so that the only ones that will remain in effect are the ones that give you a positive manifestation, yet at the same time that you have the positive manifestation, it allows you the negative recognition you could have gotten by having the negative experience. I will sum it up in one word. Develop an overwhelming sense of connection to nature, connection to the infinite, through the facility that is called gratitude. Understand?
Yeah.
With absolute gratitude, you will have nothing barred from you. Nothing. Nothing.
Gratitude to whom or what?
Gratitude.
Can you define that a little better?
All right. It is, in some senses, in some religions in your society, called being in a state of grace. In other words, some individuals say it is being humble yet expansive. It is feeling the universe in your heart. It is knowing that all things are contained within you. It is relating to all of nature. It is, in your terminology, being grateful for the opportunity of all the experience you have. It is being grateful for the consciousness of reality in whatever form it takes to give you the information you need, by being whatever form it is. A pane of glass, a stone, an animal, a person, the sky, the clouds, the trees, the stars. Gratitude for all of it. Infinite gratitude opens you up. It is, in a sense, vulnerability, in trust, in strength, in a positive way. Gratitude. You might find some excellent examples in what you call your Native American culture. The way they speak of gratitude, in many ways, is what we are talking about now. It is an acknowledgement and a recognition of all of the mirrors you are given in reality, so that you can be so reflective and so clear because of that gratitude that all images can be reflected from you. All states can be reflected back from you. And you can be whatever you want when you want to be. That idea. At any moment. Absolute gratitude. In a sense, it is the ultimate centering. Sometimes your society calls it surrender. We simply do not necessarily choose that term because in many ways it actually implies that you are losing your identity and that you are no longer in control. It simply means you become so transparent and so effortless in your creation that you're actually exercising the control you are as an aspect of the infinite, so it seems like you're not doing anything. Gratitude. Gratitude, love, unconditional gratitude, the joy at being given the gift that you have been given in that way will allow you to experience it in any way you want to, and at the same time, by experiencing it that way, you will still appreciate all other ways unconditionally that you could have experienced it. Let me put it this way. An individual, in your terminology, who is physiologically very abundant, comes up in a situation where they meet face to face with an individual that in your terms is physiologically impoverished. An overwhelming sense of love and gratitude at being who they are is what that truly centered person feels, and they can be of service in many ways to the individual who in your terms may be impoverished and may desire to change, but may not be able to understand the alignment of needs and wants. Whereas the abundant person in that way can experience through the other person's life, through the other person's eyes, the idea, the lessons, the knowledge, the understanding of why they would have chosen that, sees the strength within them, understands it and integrates it and absorbs it within themselves, and gives gratitude, radiates light and gratitude at being able to see that lesson, to receive that lesson, and at the same time be whoever they want to be, when they want to be, that person, and still receive all the lessons, all the information, all the gratitude, all the support. In a sense, it is an attached detachment, an ultimate attachment to everything, and yet knowing that everything passes through you and allows you to remain whatever you wish to be at that moment. Some of this may seem esoteric, but it is completely couched in a language of emotionality. And in a sense, it must be. There are not too many terminologies that exist upon your planet in your language that we could use that are, quote-unquote, logical in a way that can express the emotionality. These are things that must be felt. It is the feeling of that connection that allows you to be what you want to be when you want to be it, rather than the idea of the analytical understanding of that condition. It is a state of grace, a state of gratitude, a state of love. Is this making any sense?
I'm understanding you, but I only have a partial understanding of one thing.
Yes.
I seem to have a monopolar concept of gratitude, as though in order to understand gratitude, I need to understand the polar opposite of that to compare it to. In other words, how would I feel if I didn't feel
There is the crux. There is the crux. Thank you, thank you.
My pleasure.
When you're talking about something like gratitude, unconditional love, you are talking about the center of all things. The only polarity that exists at the center of all things is the outward expression of everything, which means in order to experience the polarity of the center, you have to experience all the details and take a long time doing it.
We've done that. Okay.
So the idea is that if you wish to happen quickly, then simply feel it at the center. You don't necessarily have to experience the polarity. You can. But experiencing the polarity of the center means experiencing all the things that surround the center. The entire sphere of physiological reality.
How does one do that?
In the way you have gone about it. Analyzing and going through many different lives, having many different experiences of things that you may need, but don't want.
Well, what I'm saying is, how does one experience the core, the center?
Feel it. Love it. Feel the gratitude at having been created by it, and give that love back. It is an unlimited well.
Well,
there is no other polarity that exists except all the detail of creation itself.
So I understand that.
All right.
I lost what I was going to say.
Very good. Good start. Auspicious beginning. Fall into it. Relax into it. Let it nurture you, and at the same time understand it is not taking away your identity.
No, I don't have that concept at all.
On one level, you do.
Okay, I'd like to access that level. How would I go about accessing?
Fall into it.
How do you fall into it? How do you do that? I'm interested in doing it, but I don't have, it's just hearing the words fall into it doesn't necessarily trigger an understanding of a practical application.
All right. I only can give you a suggestion, for there can be many, many, many techniques. I'll give you a suggestion.
Sure.
I do not necessarily know that this will work precisely for you. Perhaps your imagination will take over and alter in a way to befit you. Stand on the edge of some sort of ledge over a body of water.
Okay.
While standing on the edge of the ledge, feel all your anger. Feel all the idea of the radiance and the power of your will. Feel the conscious commandment. Feel your deservability. Own it. Demand it of yourself. The universe already gives it to you. Demand it of yourself. Then at the height of your intense desire for that conscious commandment and directability and deliberateness in your life, fall into the water and cool off. And float in the serene plunge of support and infinite beauty. That is the answer to what you have asked for. And see what that exercise does for the blending of your will and your spirit.
That's interesting.
Thank you.
Will this tie into the elevation of the needs to the level of wants? Is that?
Yes. By tying in the blending of the spirit and the will.
Mm-hmm.
We thank you.
Fascinating. Thank you, Captain Bashar.
Shannon!
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Welcome to our world.
Always thank you. Speak up. Be bold so that all may share.
Okay, Dr. Pullen, here I come. When I met Daryl in San Diego, I felt not that I was just meeting Daryl. I felt an overwhelming sense of love.
All right.
Was there someone else there with him? Have I met you before?
There have been passages through our energy in dream encounter, in dream reality, but also you were sensing crossovers between channel and yourself and sensing crossovers with many aspects of your own future self that are somehow analogous to what we represent to you. Did you understand that?
Yes.
You are meeting aspects of your own future self, recognizing aspects of your own higher self that in some way operate on similar frequencies to what we represent to you.
Okay.
So in other words, the recognition, to put it simply, was you recognizing other aspects of yourself, even though there is, to some degree, some familiarity with our energy in different dream levels.
Okay. I have two daughters.
All right, one, two.
Donna is 20 and Deborah is 7.
All right.
When Donna was very, very small, she told me that she had chosen me
Yes.
as her mother.
Yes, of
she
course.
chose to be.
Everyone does.
And when she said it, she was really not in command of the English language. She was not old enough to be speaking in a solid sentence at that time.
If you say so.
Well, obviously she did.
Thank you.
Babies usually, she had only been limited at that point to just one word or two.
Oh, all right.
When she said it.
Perhaps she didn't have anything else to say.
Right. During her childhood, she kept asking my husband and I for a baby sister.
All right.
And she was very angry at us that we were not complying. And then 13 years later, when I had Deborah,
the number
she
of
said, "You are
transformation.
a little late, Mother."
All right.
But my youngest daughter, Deborah, she says she chose
Yes.
that she wanted to be closer to Donna.
Yes.
She wanted to experience the physical reality, I would guess you would say.
Yes.
And were they kindred sisters before Donna left her and came down first?
Sometimes. They have also been lovers many times.
How interesting.
All right.
The reason I say that is that my daughter is experiencing a lot of negativity towards the males in our world.
All right.
And she feels that she could go through life completely without them. And she is worried that she is not following what she intended when she started.
You may simply suggest that she relax, first of all. It does not necessarily allow an individual to understand who they are to begin by chipping away at themselves through invalidation.
Right.
If they do not leave enough of themselves to observe, they will not discover who it is they are.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea, first of all, is to relax, not be so hard on the self, not so hard. The idea can happen, as has been outlined, that individual may not necessarily have to interact with, in the way you are describing it, males of your species, although we perceive that that is not really going to be the case. The idea primarily is that she simply needs to come to terms with the idea of her own masculine aspects. Blending those polarities within herself will allow her to breathe more easily and not so much feel that she is being taken away from a connection that she truly desires, something she had with her sister.
Mm-hmm.
Understand?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. I do understand that. Thank you.
Right. One moment. There is an ancient friend that, if she is willing to allow it, can be of much help in her dream state. For she has interacted with that individual as a male before, and that friend in spirit state can remind her much of the joy of finding the blending of the polarity of the male and the female within each and every individual, and that can allow her perhaps more outward expression of that idea in your physiological reality. You may simply suggest that that friend is there, and will, in a very gentle and loving way, not forcing, not pushing anything at all, simply have dialogue with her in dream reality to allow her to come to terms with her own masculinity and her own femininity. Understand?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Does that serve you?
Oh, yes, it does. It answers a lot more questions. Thank you.
Then suggest to them both pleasant dreams.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Shooting.
Hi, Bashar.
And good day.
How you doing?
Perfect, and you?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Before my question, just because it seems to keep coming up, I read an article and it said that ultimately the contactees do seem to wind up with their feet firmly planted just somewhere above the ground.
Perhaps simply on the soil of the new fourth density Earth.
Oh, okay. There you go. That makes sense. My question is the Tao universe. And the beings. I've been having some exchanges of energy with them, and I thought maybe you could elaborate on them. They're quite different than what I've experienced.
Yes. We cannot necessarily go much into other universal realities at this time. However, let us say they function as an automatic on and off switch to regulate some of the functions taking place in terms of exchange of energy in your physiological universe. They are more like a monitoring energy.
Yeah, I do notice that when they show up, the Pleiadians, who are pretty headstrong, quiet up real fast.
No need to look at it that way. You are putting it back into a melodramatic framework. That is an Earth interpretation of what is going on in terms of the exchange of energy, and is not necessarily literally representative of what is actually taking place.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Also, I mean, are they physical like us, or I know they can
They can represent themselves that way,
yeah,
but ultimately, not really.
I mean, they're like this gaseous energy cloud?
Well, in a sense, energy being, yes.
But
you might interpret the idea as gaseous in your reality, but that also would only be an interpretation. It might be more easily understood as etheric.
Etheric.
Yes.
Okay, getting into etheric, is the etheric fragile? Can it be broken in parts?
Well, in a sense, we, quote-unquote, break it all the time in order to interact with you. Because in many ways, we are also etheric.
But it rephysicalizes.
In our reality, according to our thoughts and our beliefs, yes.
Okay. So getting back to the depth, they're just totally from another reality?
Another dimensional plane altogether. That is, to some degree, 90 degrees of a vector to those realities, those dimensional planes that you and I would call physiologically real. They are a vector universe.
How did they get here?
through the idea of phase shifting, just as we come into your universe. The idea of changing your vibratory frequency to match that of the universe in question of visitation and to project a portion of their consciousness in whatever way seems to be most necessary to represent their presence. Mm-hmm. Their presence, as you perceive it, is not even the totality of the being.
Right, right.
It is, in a sense, but a finger, to use an analogy.
Do they have ships?
Not as you understand it, no. But they do have cohesive electromagnetic consciousness that sometimes you may perceive as ships, or more often than not, would choose to perceive as simply spheres of light in your reality.
Right. Are those spheres of light, I mean, is that one being in there, or it's a mass consciousness?
It is a collective. And at the same time, it is one.
Male, female, or?
That polarity does not really exist for them.
So they just...
They understand it as a necessary representational face in your reality, and sometimes can put that face on. But that is not to say that even if it represents itself as a male or a female, that it actually sees itself that way.
Mm-hmm. Do they have physical technology like we have, or it's total, mental frequency?
Not as you understand it, except in one dimension they would call their dim past.
Can they...
One now, at this time, would be sufficient to allow other individuals to interact.
Oh, okay.
Sleep well.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Shilling!
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day to you. I feel fortunate in that I discovered, I think, pretty early on what excites me.
Oh, all right.
And that is music. And, yes. And as time passed, I found out more specifically that songwriting in particular excited me.
All right.
I've experienced a lot of inertia on my way to my goal. And I've often found that I'm on not the same frequency.
All right.
But that's not really what I came to address here.
All right. Be direct.
About a year and a half ago, I had a problem with my hearing. Actually, I'm still experiencing this problem. And what it is volumes, I'm very sensitive to any kind of volume at all, especially in my left ear. And it is, as I said, very sensitive. It experiences a dampening and deadening of sound at times, and sounds like I've got broken eggshells in there.
All right.
And it's improved somewhat in a year and a half, and I've seen a number of doctors, and they haven't helped me at all. But as I said, it's gotten better. I'm wondering at this point if I should interpret this problem with my hearing as how I should interpret it. Is it a sign that there's...
You are to some degree breaking out of a shell, which has to some degree muffled the sounds of the reality you are breaking into. You are to some degree still immersed in what might be called embryonic fluid, and that also muffles the sound. Now this is the metaphysical idea. Some of this idea of your hearing can be assisted and accelerated by what might be termed some efficacious compounds, herbal compounds that you may ingest to invigorate your nervous system and those pathways that your brain uses, electrochemically speaking, to create the stimulation of sonic perception. These you may find in some of your literature if you simply allow yourself to be attracted through synchronicity to the ideas that you need. The idea of quiet listening to yourself in that way can improve that ability. But mostly it is that you are now passing through a membrane, and this membrane to some degree has been acting as a buffer, because you have come out of a life wherein you believed that in this life you needed some degree of protection. You came into this life with some degree of belief that you were somehow extra sensitive, and that coming back into the physiological reality would be too abrasive for you. So you have surrounded yourself with this embryonic fluid, out of which now you are just recently beginning to emerge. You understand?
Yes, and that makes me optimistic. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I shouldn't. Should I interpret this as on a certain level that it's a nerve damage that I've experienced?
Perhaps not a damage, but simply, shall we say, a resistance. A nerve resistance. Now, one suggestion.
Yes.
One suggestion.
Yes.
Both to assist your audio acuity and also to form an analogy for your emergence from a particular type of shell would be in what you may call your countryside or whatever it is that is peaceful to you and quiet. Pay close attention to the sounds that your birds make. Listen to that music and listen to the clarity of the tone. There are sounds and patterns and information within that can train your nerves to hear in specific ways. Understand?
Yeah.
And by analogy will also assist you to spread your wings and fly in that particular sonic endeavor. And to create your own song in a perfect reflection of their song in a very natural way. So it all will be pure of tone.
Well, that sounds like fun. I would enjoy doing that.
All right.
So I don't have to interpret this as a sign that perhaps there's another area that I could...
As we said, there may be some herbal compounds you can attract yourself to that will assist you and accelerate you in that direction. The idea also to some degree of applying some warmth or what you may call heat to this area may also assist you.
Okay. Well, thanks for your help.
We thank you very much.
Good night.
Shooting!
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Chakanasa. Altair has been coming up for me a lot lately. And I've gotten some information about the civilization. I wanted to clarify a couple of things with you.
All right.
One of the things that I felt is that there are underground environments, and they might be considered to be zoos or almost like biological labs, that they take representatives from other worlds and bring them to their own planet, and that visitors can come and visit those environments?
You are looking at something that is more of a holographic representation. It does contain essence of the actual individual's energy, but it is not something that is actually physiological. It is more of a holographic projector that does in fact contain true essence of an individual's energy, so that it seems as if they are, in your terms, really physically there. But they are not really physically there. It is an etheric projector, so to speak.
Okay.
System that allows them to tap into the essence of the understanding of any particular individual, but not in your terminology at the expense of the individual's physicality.
Okay. But there are environments, so to speak,
Yes.
of other worlds?
Energy atmospheres created in that way for examination, for understanding, since they in many ways function as a gate and are doing their own research and exploration of the many different conduits and expressions of reality and civilization that exist within the many galactic realms as well, as other civilizations do. That is their way. They bring the issue to them with their etheric projectors.
Okay, that's what I thought. And do they have visitors that come and to these environments?
Now and then.
So they don't physically travel. They travel through...
Not so much, no.
Through consciousness.
Now this is not going to necessarily make a lot of sense to you. One aspect of their consciousness does physically travel. One moment. The analogy would be similar. Not identical, but similar to the idea that if you were busy involved in a project and one aspect of your personality were out flying around somewhere in a spacecraft observing other things, but it would only be one aspect that you would consider to be an aspect of your personality, not something that you would necessarily consider to be a being on its own. You would perceive that from them to be a being on its own. But that being on its own, physiologically represented to you as traveling in a ship, is only one aspect of their personality, while they are busy focusing on something else. It is more like a probe of consciousness that manifests to you as a physiological being in a ship. Understand?
Basically.
All right. What'll that do? Not really.
No. Oh, yeah, one other thing about that. Would they be considered like record keepers?
All right, yes. You can consider the idea of those etheric projectors and all the holographic matrices that they have created to observe these ideas as a type of holographic storage memory, in a sense. In that sense, yes. Let's put it this way. You can say they have found a way, on some level, to somewhat, in ethereal matter, solidify the Akashic records. Understand?
Yes, very much.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. And,
right.
okay, one other thing about that. Are they Is their civilization part of the positive-negative split-off from Lyra? Is that their origination?
No, not directly, no. They have a completely different idea of connection in that linear sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
and
very
Shatana
much.
Shah.
Thank you.
Shirley!
Hello, Bashar.
How do you? Good day.
Always a pleasure to be with you.
And you as well.
This is a really silly problem, and I realize that's very selfish, but I'm going to share it. I need some advice.
Before you continue, may I remind you of something?
Please do.
Thank you. Your original root word for silly in what you may call your old English is selig, which means happy, prosperous, and abundant.
Oh, great. I needed to hear that. I really
Thank
did.
you. So by all means, be silly.
Okay. Well, I find myself, in the last year, I've moved about 5 times.
Oh, how active. All right.
Very active. And I finally found the place of my dreams. I visualized the place of my dreams. So I thought, one detail I forgot to ask for was a landlord that would allow me to have overnight male guests. So I find myself a rock and roller in Hancock Park playing out this modesty play and having to defend my morality.
Defend?
But I don't know what to do.
Oh, yes, you do.
I do?
Yes.
Defend.
No, not defend.
Oh.
State.
State.
Not defend.
Well, I've tried
State.
that.
I beg your pardon.
I have done that.
Oh, yes?
I've told him how I feel. I know how he feels. And it's
Yes.
auspicious, as you mentioned earlier, that you would have a discussion on inertia.
Yes.
Because I know there's a third point of view that it just seems like I'm up against a wall.
Stop. You like to fight.
I do. I call myself the warrior against presumption.
All right. Then remember, you have been literally, physically a warrior many times.
Many times.
Now, you are a warrior of peace.
Well, I want that. I don't want to defend this thing. I don't want to... So what do I do? Just do what I want to do?
State. B. Do you believe you're in integrity?
Totally.
Then state and be. Stand your ground.
Well, what if he throws me out? I don't own the place in Hancock Park. I'm
Then
just
perhaps
gonna
you will
guess
find the next location.
I know. I don't want to move again. I haven't even unpacked yet.
May I remind you of something?
Yes,
A
please.
warrior never stands still.
Ah, shit.
A warrior is never where you expect her to be. A warrior moves with the wind.
I feel that way, I know. I just want to relax a minute. Just
Relax
for 3 months to write some songs.
into the motion. Relax into the waves you are creating in your life. Relax into the ocean of your energy.
So you think I should just back off and try to find another
Do
place?
not back off. Be who you are. But do not make such a contest out of it.
And just challenge it silently.
No. What are all these words? Challenge, defend. Be. Does the ocean have to explain or defend itself?
No.
Do you understand?
Sort of.
Sort of.
But what do I do?
All right.
But what do I do?
Sharpen your sword and put it away. Do you understand? Sharpen your sword and encase it in velvet.
I
And
love
let
that
the
analogy.
sharpness of your love guide you.
Well, I was sending him unconditional love last night when he was talking to me, but it wasn't getting through. I really don't think it was.
That's all right. Again, the point is that obviously you attracted to yourself an opportunity to simply state who you are without getting involved in the feeling that it has to be a conflict of points of view.
Maybe.
One moment. One moment. One moment.
Sorry.
Oh, you don't have to be sorry. Just one moment.
Okay. You got it.
Take a breath in. Hold it. Keep holding it. Keep holding it. Keep holding it. Don't let it out. Don't let it out. Did you let a little out?
I did. I'm sorry, I did.
You're what?
I did. I couldn't help it.
Oh, you can't? Why
No,
not?
because you're so hysterical sometimes.
All
I
right.
had to laugh.
But that's not the real reason you couldn't hold it. Why couldn't you hold it?
I don't know.
Because it's natural to breathe. That's why. And it is unnatural to hold it like that within you.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Okay.
Let yourself breathe into these circumstances and these situations. You have been told an analogy many times in what you may call different types of body techniques to breathe into the pain, and that in many cases dissipates it. Well, same idea with the circumstances in your life. If you feel that they're painful, if you feel they present themselves to you in a painful way, breathe into it. Breathe through it. State who you are and breathe as the ocean breathes. Dance within yourself, the joy of life dance.
Oh,
breathe into the idea.
Believe me, I'm just happy to have found someone I even want to be with, because it's.
We're not talking about settling for less. We are talking about truly having, as we did before, what you want. But the idea is that if you have attracted this kind of circumstance, do not see it as a conflict.
No,
you are
I see it
simply
as a challenge.
jumping the gun in the same way that you used to as a warrior. And a challenge is fine if you wish to call it that, but the idea does not have to be seen even on that level. The idea is that it is a gift. It is a sharing. It is a learning. It is an opportunity to see more and more of who you are, an opportunity to allow you to state more and more of who you are, to state your integrity, and to allow the circumstance to move you in that way. You yourself already know that the physiological circumstance isn't even necessarily ideally representative of where you want to be.
No, I should have asked for that house in Hancock Park.
All right.
I should
Again,
have asked for.
that can be a part of the issue of your expansiveness and your willingness to really state who you are without having to feel that you have to defend that as if you are once again in this life, like before, holding off the attackers from the fort.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that I could come up with from my meditation on it was that perhaps it sort of kept me from relaxing again, because I have a tendency to do that with my career, and I know I have the tools now to really push it, and I was ready to become the homemaker from hell. You know, I was happy there, and I might have just sort of hung out and not shot my tape, and so maybe that's what it's for, just to make me realize that I don't have all the freedom that I want and that I deserve.
All right, very good.
So
very
maybe
good.
that's it, but it still pisses me off.
Why?
Because I just can't handle it immediately.
Oh, yes, you can. It's just that you do not want to because you like to fight.
Oh. I really don't. I swear I don't. I just want to relax and have a good time. I swear. I swear.
Sure. All right. I believe you.
You're such a comedian. I love you so much.
You bring it out in me.
So.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get signed and have channeling sessions at my home in Hancock Park.
All right. And remember, you have done your share of defending. You can take a break. It's all right. You're not an indentured warrior anymore.
It's so funny you should say that. I've felt that about myself. I feel like I've dressed for war every time I dress. I swear I do.
I know.
Feel that.
I know. You reek of it. That's why we're able to perceive it. It is a nice energy. It's very strong and a very vital energy. Make no mistake about that. But you are not in the heat of battle anymore.
I know.
No more blood needs to be
I know. I want to be in the heat of passion.
Oh, thank you. Now you understand what it means to sharpen your sword and put it in a velvet sheath. Heat of passion. Ooh, feel it? All right.
I do.
Let that fire carry you. Let that fire be your new sword. All right?
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Can I ask you about this new guy in my life?
No.
Oh. That's all right. I like the package. I'll unwrap it myself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bashar.
You will find I can share this with you. You will find that there may be some similar issues that will come up that you will be able to reflect and teach to that individual.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Oh, definitely vice versa.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Bashar.
Shutting!
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
I had 2 questions, and I've gone back and forth, so here goes.
All right.
You know how it is, and people talk about a certain subject, and you've mentioned transformation many times.
Yes.
I think, transformation, okay, I know what that is, and it's fine. And then all of a sudden one day I go, I'm not sure what transformation is.
Oh, all right.
And as I understand it, you have mentioned that transformation is when you go from 3rd dimension to 4th dimension?
Well, that is one way.
One way.
Going from one state to another state, that's all.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is the question came up. I've heard people who are talking about a loved one who has passed away or
Yes.
died in
Yes.
our reality.
Yes.
And they talk about that as transformation.
Oh, yes.
And that is a form of transformation.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's mainly what I wanted to know. In my dreams, there has been one symbol that has reoccurred several times over the last year.
All right, do share.
And it is some form of a slide.
Slide.
Like in child's play in the park,
Yes.
the slide.
Yes.
And sometimes it's been just me sliding down a hill.
All right.
And I'm not sure what this is to symbolize.
Well, how does it feel?
Well, it feels good. It feels... I can actually feel the acceleration, the air in my hair, and going down,
yes.
down and out.
Acceleration.
And, okay.
Do you feel that it shoots you in the direction you prefer?
Well, I hadn't really thought of it that way.
All right. When you arrive at the bottom of the slide, are you eager to get back up and slide again?
Always.
Always. All right, all right.
Yes.
So acceleration is something you enjoy.
Yes, it
Right.
is.
That's very transforming.
Oh, I see.
Especially if you do it as you have symbolized to us in the manner of a child. Through play. Through allowing your life to be play. In a childlike manner. Not childish, childlike.
Childlike.
Yes, childlike.
Well, I guess that that answers the question then.
Are you sure?
Well, I don't know. You mentioned about, is it pointing me in the direction I want to go? And
Yes.
I would say that I've been rather in a fog as to what direction I really want to take with my life. And
What excites you the most?
I've heard this question over and over.
Yes. And someday it finally clicks.
That's what I've been hoping for, that the day would come. I feel like, here I am in my 40s and it still hasn't clicked, and I'm beginning to wonder, well, when is it going to click?
I'll tell you when. When you take the slide and point it in the direction you prefer to. And do not just leave it up to chance.
Point the slide.
And you do not just let it deposit you where it will. It brings back into the idea conscious commandment. Discover your preferences. State them. And move in that direction. As if you deserve them. Unquestionably. Because you do. Simply because you have been able to conceive of them. You deserve them. Point your slide in that direction. In whatever direction you prefer to. The idea is that it does come to you, but it doesn't come to you until you send it. Remember that everything that comes to you in your life is an echo of a sound you send out first.
So use the slide as a tool.
Oh, absolutely.
I see.
Absolutely. Decide what excites you. Decide. And then act in that direction. Understand?
I will, yes.
Oh, I'm not telling you have to.
No.
It's not an order.
No, it's a conscious...
All right.
Talk to myself.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Does that serve you?
Yes, it does.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this timing, you may all enjoy a short break. We will resume contact in approximately 10 to 15 of your minutes. How's it going?
There's refreshments in the other room. Please remember 10 to 15 minutes when I call you. Please come back, because we can't.
Say, continue.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Well, Henry and I had a great trip in the American West.
All right.
And we went to Sedona and Zion and Jackson, Wyoming.
All right.
And had some wonderful conversations with some devas and energies.
All right.
And I just wanted to share with you that while we were in Sedona, we had one night and we didn't know where the vortexes were, so we found a metaphysical bookstore. And I saw this one book on the shelf that said Sedona Vortexes.
All right.
And it was about...
and you found them all in the book?
Well, the book fell off the shelf, which was above my head and into my hand when I asked Henry, do you think we should buy the book?
All right.
So I saw this in a Shirley MacLaine movie a while ago, and I thought this really doesn't happen, but it does happen. And we went to...
Because you are a vortex as well and draw all things to you that you need.
Are we all vortexes, though, in that sense?
Yes.
Okay. So Henry and I, in one day, went to 3 out of the 4 vortexes, and he had some wonderful little energy experiences, and I had a pleasant day hiking.
What?
And I was just wondering how our electromagnetic field is coming along.
Coming along?
If you had any insights or sharing.
Nice little electromagnetic field. Come along now. Don't lag behind.
Well, you know, I thought I'd experienced something great in Sedona, and all I had were some Indian dreams where I recreated a few past lives here and there.
Oh.
That was all.
Who are you?
So, I was just curious as to anything you might want to share on the vortexes, which
I'm not going to let you get away with this now. Okay. The electromagnetic field is far too strong for this.
All right.
How do the dreams allow you to feel? What statements can you make about yourself now that you did not make before your trip?
It allowed me to see that whatever I ask for, I can create.
All right.
And when I was in Sedona, I asked to see the life I had as an Indian chief, because I felt very strong, and I got it.
All right.
And it was so powerful that by 3 or 4 in the morning, I asked it to please stop so I could sleep.
All right.
So I really see that whatever I choose to want to create, it can be created.
You mean you get what you want when you want it?
Yes, and so you better be careful what you ask for. Because...
Does that mean you don't trust yourself?
Means...
Or are you making a joke?
Oh, it was a joke.
All right. I'm laughing.
Okay. I just learned how powerful I really am.
Oh, thank you very much. What could I possibly add to that?
Absolutely nothing.
Thank you.
I love you very much.
Our love to you.
Thank you.
Yatta hai.
Okay.
Shirley.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
My name is Sasha Vask, and I was here exactly a year ago.
All right.
And thanks to you, a lot of things have been happening in my life.
Oh,
and,
thanks to you as well, obviously. It's your life.
That's true. One of them was, which at the time seemed like impossible, and it happened. I did go back to my roots, back to Russia, and it happened exactly precisely in the time frame which you gave me. It was sensational.
Well, thank you for co-creating the timing with us.
I have a question.
All right.
When you say to create, to see the life or the professional lifestyle you want to live, I'm having trouble being a comedian. I'm having trouble seeing myself in a lifestyle which successful one would live at that time, doing Vegas, doing big time comedy shows, because I do not know. I'm not familiar with it. I can't see myself in it. Yeah.
Is that what you really want to do?
Being a comedian, yes.
All right. How much does it excite you?
A lot.
Does it tickle you?
Oh boy.
Does it make you laugh?
Oh yeah.
All right. Then can you not take the feeling and translate that feeling into some sort of imagery? Can you not take the feeling as if you already were on that stage? Wrap yourself in that atmosphere. Let the feeling unfold as the audience before you. And see yourself and feel yourself transferring that feeling to them. It does not have to be orthodox at all. Remember that what may prevent you from seeing the idea is that you may have an expectation of exactly how you think you have to go about it in order to be successful. Don't think in orthodox ways. You're not orthodox at all. Catch me so far?
Yes, sir.
Sir! Oh, thank you, sir.
The last question is, now I want to go back to Russia as a comedian and producer.
All right.
Do you see that happening?
As soon as you understand that it's all right for you to be unorthodox in that setting.
All right. So all I have to see the audience laughing, and that would be enough.
It can help you to discover your methodology of expression. Simply all we are saying is that what prevents you from seeing it now may be because you still have some expectations about exactly how you think you have to do it in order to get through to them. Let yourself relax your definitions of what you think the idea of that type of sharing is, and let yourself be the unique and unorthodox you actually are. Of course you can do it.
Thank
if you relax the definitions you think they expect you to be. How about a little spontaneity?
Anytime.
All right.
Thank you very much.
We thank you very much. By the way, we're all laughing a lot.
Good.
At what you have to share with us. Laughter of joy. All you need to do is realize that what you're doing is performing a service by allowing them to lighten up.
That's great. Thank you.
We thank you very much. Shilling!
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
So I have an idea. I wanted...
Oh, all right. Share.
I love to play, and
yes.
I wanted to play a game with you.
Oh, all right.
I wanted to create...
One moment. I am telling everyone else that is crowding in now to back off a little bit. Everyone got very excited about that idea, about that offer. So that it is more than just myself willing to play.
Okay.
Do continue.
Good, because it's an interdimensional game.
Oh, yes.
I want to create a matrix.
All right.
And the invitation is to get inside the matrix.
I'm in it.
And spin.
I'm spinning.
Wait, I haven't created the matrix yet.
Oh, but you did.
Oh, you got all of them? Ready? Okay. Andromeda as a facilitator for all stellar consciousness. In this quadrant.
Yes.
Crystal sarcophagus.
Yes.
Hawaii. Crystal skull. Angelic. My neck. Phase shifting. And tetrahedrons.
Oh.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay. And get inside, spin,
yes.
And tell me what you see. And then I have a question.
Do you wish to repeat each one and hear the answer?
Yes, very much. Okay, Andromeda.
Conviction.
Crystal sarcophagus.
Eternity.
Hawaii.
Love, light, and laughter.
Crystal skull.
Interdimensional selves. And associations with past relations.
Angelic.
An expansive compassion for all that is.
My neck.
Delving deep within the channels of high electromagnetic activity.
Phase shifting.
Turning around and being surprised by the unexpected at every given moment that you create to exist.
And tetrahedrons.
Giving birth to another reality.
And one more.
Yes.
Dolphins. Dolphins as a global consciousness.
Wrapped in a blanket of love.
Beautiful.
And peeking out from beneath the blanket and laughing. And inviting you in.
So I know most of what you saw already.
Yes.
Is there some way that you can expand that matrix to key me in? I'm number 13 on this list.
Yes,
So
yes, the transformational number.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Be the matrix itself. Because you do, in fact, contain it all.
Yes.
Remember yourself as holographic.
I just had that experience.
Yes!
You know that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Wait, one question. About tetrahedrons.
Yes.
The last time I asked you these questions, the tape blanked out.
Blank, yes.
Blank. And the technical questions keep coming up.
Bashar.
Well, the question is, how do I measure the accuracy? You said they need to be extremely precise and accurate.
In terms of rendering them into crystal formations, perhaps, yes. Depends upon what you want to do with them.
Well, I want to do a very big one and do things inside of it.
Do things. All right.
33 feet, okay?
Yes, all right.
Okay.
Yes.
So you said that the precision is really important. How do I know how precise?
The ratio. Equilateral. That's all.
That's all?
Yes.
And how do I measure the effect?
In the acceleration that takes place within your synchronous reality.
So I can just go on my own intuitive.
You are the strongest
projected
barometer. You are the strongest electromagnetic needle.
So I can just make this thing and then do you know what I mean? What I'm saying?
Sort of, kind of.
And it'll be exactly the way I imagine it to be.
Yes. Okay. Because it is the tetrahedral structure, the basic building block of your dimensional reality, and when you create it to be equilateral in all directions, then you will be creating a symbolic template. And you yourself will be that actual template. You will carry that imagery with you, and you will be able to use it in whatever way, shape, or form you want to.
So every time I come up against this technical blank, I can just make it up and trust that within my own intuitiveness that
yes, it will either work for you that way, or it will lead you into the formation that will.
Or lead me to people that will fill in those blanks.
Of course. Because now, you see, because of your recognition that you are holographic, the whole idea is to truly begin to use all the resources you already have at your disposal all around you, all of you.
And related to that is the mathematics.
Yes.
Is it true that when in your vibration into post-language, let's say,
yes,
what has happened to the mathematics?
They are also intuitive and instinctive. They are seen now mostly as the idea of relationships between different dimensional states.
So that's where I can create it.
Yes, in other words, let me put it this way. The tetrahedral structure now, to us, is the only mathematical framework we need. It is all the equations we have ever written, rendered into one geometric understanding.
So by actually being involved in this, it's taking it to that level.
Yes. You can extrapolate, as you say, backwards, unfold from a tetrahedral structure every single equation you have ever written in your physics and your mathematics. It is all enfolded within that shape.
But I don't have to get there through the language. I can just go right there.
Absolutely.
Okay. And one last question is, in this whole polarity blending that we're doing,
yes,
as let's just take night and day.
Night and day.
In your blendingness, how do you experience the blend of that polarity? Let's say on your planet, where do you experience night and day?
Well, yes, we are still physiological beings, and being in the surface world of our environmental reality, we can still experience the idea you call night and day. However, also there is the experience of what you would call dream time, which is more like the astral state, where its neutral formation is more like a gray fog.
Got it. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is, shall we say, the soup out of which anything can materialize.
Got it.
Thank you very much.
Lots of love. Thanks.
All the love to you. Sharing.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I had a question regarding phase shifts.
Phase shifts. Yes.
I am experimenting with a technique that takes me through phase shifts in this life, back to moments in time, forward in moments in time.
Yes.
Takes me to other dimensions.
Yes.
Takes me to the past, way the distant past, and I'm finding these shifts very uncomfortable. So
why?
Well, because I have always led with my mind, and I'm having a hard time explaining them to myself.
I see. May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Are you enjoying interacting with me?
Yes.
What do you think you're doing but phase shifting right now, because I am in another dimensional state?
Yes.
Well,
all these other people are doing it too, so it feels better. If I do it by myself, it doesn't feel so good.
I beg your pardon, as you say, but even though all these other people are doing it too, you're still the only one. And that's true for every single individual. It's always both, remember. Remember. It is always both. It doesn't have to be this or that. It's this and that. Understand? In other words, an individual upon your planet shared with us one time a very exciting way to look at a particular word and to pronounce that particular word. And the particular word could be pronounced alone or all one, which means you are never alone. And yet at the same time you are all one, and so there is only one.
I follow that.
Depends on how you look at it, therefore, and that's the whole point of phase shifting. It's how you look at it. Phase shifting is only a point of view. Because remember, you don't actually go anywhere. Nobody really moves. Not fundamentally. All motion is your illusion of continuity. Everything manifests from you, within you. You don't actually ever really go anywhere. Right where you are right now, if you were to remove all the ideas of every dimensional reality you could conceive of, you would find that you are right now where you have always been, forever. And where you will always be, forever. It's just that all the realities you experience, in a sense, orbit around you, move through you, so to speak. And even that, in a sense, is an illusion. Real while you're in it. We're not discounting it as a reality, because that's what reality is, point of view. But you don't actually go anywhere. When you phase shift, it is simply the same idea as being able to take a step. You have to phase shift in order to have the illusion of moving through a room on your planet. Because those are discrete moments of creation, discrete now. Now it is here, now it is here, now it is here, now it is here. That is a phase shift. Understand? It's that simple. All you're talking about is a matter of degree. You do it all the time.
Yes, that's true. What I would like to leave behind is the feelings that go with it.
Well, remember that feelings are reactions to what you believe. So what are your definitions that would cause such negative feelings? Redefine it in a positive way, and you cannot have a negative emotional reaction to it.
Maybe it's that I think that I should just be one place at one time.
No, all right. In a sense, you are. The one place you have always been.
Which is every place.
Which is every place. So you are, at one and the same time, everywhere, and specifically, precisely, where you perceive you are in that particular reality in which you exist.
So if I played with that belief, it would feel better.
Yes, play with it, by all means. Let it talk to you. You can talk to your beliefs, you know. You can talk to your definitions. They'll talk to you. Personalize them and let them talk to you.
There's one of these spaceships that I would like some help with. There's an eagle head that keeps coming out of the top of my head.
All right.
Could you give me any information on that?
Well, obviously, to some degree, it is a connection to the idea of your ability to soar. It is an astral representation. To some degree, it is a symbol of the next phase, a step up, learning to fly in that sense. It is the whole issue of the phase shifting in and of itself. Because if you see with the eyes of the eagle symbolically, you are really seeing quite piercingly into other dimensional realities. You understand? The idea is to let yourself fly. Let yourself phase into that reality, because you have experienced that reality in what you may call Native American associations in many ways. Let yourself be that symbol. Let yourself identify with that symbol. And at the same time, allow yourself to remain grounded. Understand?
Yes.
Remember this. When the eagle animal detaches itself, quote unquote, from the branch of a tree or an overhanging cliff and takes to the air, it knows it is not disconnected from the earth. Understand? So allow yourself to realize that the only unsettling notion may be that your phase shift may make your ego feel like it has no footing. But it does. It's always connected. Always. Understand?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes, I think it will when it settles in.
Settles in. Another phase shift. All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Shedding.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you a good day.
Could you tell me what is the origin of the Catholic Church?
Origin of Catholic Church. Only in some aspects.
All right.
Idea, that particular religion derived from very ancient Druidic practices, remnant of Atalantean civilization, hierarchy, priesthood. Handed down misunderstood notions in many ways of the idea of hierarchy over congregation. Also immersed some in ancient Druidic rituals of connection to earth, many what you may call ancient, quote-unquote pagan rituals, now embodied in what you may call Catholic ritual, and redefined to fit notions that were created by many different councils, many different leaders, many different members of what it ought to be sociologically, economically, politically. Mostly it is one of the offshoots, as is many of the other religions on your planet, of ancient Atlantean priesthoods, but went through a phase redefinition through Druidic practices and emerged in areas upon your planet that would support the definitions of intermingling of not only the ancient Druidic practices, but also some of the interminglings that took place a few of your 1,000 years ago with many, shall we say, Orion incarnations in certain levels, especially where rules, regulations are concerned, especially where structure is concerned, especially where what you may call very deep and heavy energy is concerned, was to some degree reaction to some of the negativity spawned in the sinking and the destruction of Atlantis, the idea of placing a very strong hold upon certain aspects of the will, so that through that belief it would be believed that you would regain connection to the infinite through suppression, through order, through domination. Understand?
Yes, I do.
Does this assist you?
Yes, it does.
Is that sufficient?
Yeah, that's all right.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not.
All right. What else would you like to explore?
Well, it's pretty popular belief that there's a certain person in history who instituted that, commonly known as Jesus.
Oh, no, no, no.
No?
The individuals around that individual have instituted it to some degree. Not that individual. That was never the intention of that individual. But you see, the idea is, at that point, the individuals, which you may call disciples and apostles, were also full of the knowledge of some of the ancient Druidic practices at that time. And simply their interpretation of what you call the Jesus, the association, the Christ consciousness was dispensing, was interpreted according to some of those ancient practices, those ancient understandings, and interpreted through that flow line into the basic structure you now have. That was their understanding at the time of the arrival, the projection, the intersection of the Christ consciousness through that particular manifestation. It was not the intention of the Christ consciousness to establish that particular type of structure. It was the intention of the individual surrounding that individual, because that was their understanding at the time, based on what they already had learned of some of these ancient practices. And they were simply, to some degree, in their own understanding, continuing the lineage. But there was much misinterpretation. Or shall we simply say, interpretation of the times. Understand?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yeah, it does. If this individual, Jesus, had manifested himself on, say, a different location on the planet.
It did. Not specifically what you may call the Jesus, but the Christ consciousness has manifested on your world many times physiologically. It is also known as Buddha nature and many other names. Native American, Wavoka. Many, many manifestations have taken place, including what you call your physiological Mary, the female polarity of the Christ consciousness. Yes?
All right. Yeah, you answered my question before I asked it.
Thank you!
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Good day to you. I want to thank you for this last year and for the many interactions that you brought.
Oh, there's many more. It wasn't the last one.
Especially tonight.
Oh, all right.
I feel and have been experiencing such high levels of excitement that I sometimes feel like I'm going to explode.
Oh, me too. And I do. Quite often.
Fun, huh?
Yes.
I would like to share with you.
All right.
An idea.
Oh, all right.
And perhaps participate in a co-creation with you.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. One of the things that I find infinitely exciting is the creation and the planning and the design of environments and facilities and events that bring about growth.
Oh, thank you.
For people,
yes,
but specifically for children.
Oh, all right.
And
I'm sure they appreciate it infinitely.
I think I appreciate it the most, though.
All right.
My question is, realizing that we are absorbed in third density and are...
You are quasi-third fourth now.
And wanting to find the bridge to assist...
Bridge implies there is a gap.
I sense that. Well, the gap that I sense is that which is between what is actually happening now, let's say specifically for children, and that which is the ideal.
Can you define the so-called ideal? And, before you answer, can you, on your own level, in your own way, perform the ideal?
Yes.
Whether anyone else is or not?
Yes, that's where the excitement has been triggered. Is those times when those moments are just so special and so real and validating for all of us.
All right.
Time.
All right.
It's more and more of the time.
There is no gap, per se, not for you, doesn't have to be. And the more you do it, the more you make it possible for everyone else to do, if they want to. Because you will be a living and shining example.
Could you share what the reality for children is on Esasani?
Oh. The idea is that by what you term the 3 years of physical age that have been reached, They will be, in your terms, relatively independent. They will interact with whatever individuals they choose to interact with to learn, as you say, on the job, whatever they wish to know. That does not necessarily mean that they will take up the physiological manifestation exactly in the same way that what you may call an adult would be doing it, but they will go and attract themselves to the teachers and the sharers and the learners that they need to attract themselves to. We are all telepathically connected. We know where they are. No one is ever out of sight in that sense. And since the adults are the parents of all, and since the children are the children of all, everyone is always within the family. But by what you call the third year of age, they are off and learning, as you say, absorbing whatever they wish to absorb to be the person they have chosen to be within our society. It's very ecstatic, very nurturing, and very loving in that way. You might say Ethasani is one big playground. Does that help?
Yes, that helps. I am, I guess, curious.
Yes, all right. Well, your curiosity is what drives you.
Yes, definitely.
Yes,
is there a way that from my own self and the experiences that I'm experiencing with children and the opportunities that I have to share that, which are becoming very broad, that some of those fourth density realities can be brought into reality for our children here?
The more you allow them to experience with all their senses, the more you allow them to interact, the more you create environments in which they can, in fact, interact and experience many different dimensional levels of reality, the more they will be able to absorb, the faster they can, in your terms, grow, and the more they will know it is all right to experience a diversity of things. You understand?
Yes. In other words, give them validation too.
Oh, absolutely.
Besides ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And provide for them anything your imagination believes would create inspiration and love of self. Absolute self-validation. Understand?
Yes.
Teach them that they are, in fact, as powerful as they need to be to create whatever they want without having to hurt anyone else or themselves in order to create it.
Yes.
And that will do the job.
Thank you.
And remember that, of course, they are teaching all of you many things.
Constantly.
We thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
One moment. You are wave upon wave of radiant energy. Be at the center of yourself. Know you are the center, the eye of creation, through which creation learns to see itself in all the ways that are possible to see. You, us, all beings in creation are all the ways it is possible to see. Be the waves that beat upon the shore of your own reality, changing with love, changing with touch, changing with involvement, changing with time and space. All the ideas you have ever been, all that you require is to find that place of power. All that you require is to feel that place of power. All that you are is that place of power. Be the imaginations that you were designed to be. For do remember, an imagination is not something that you have. An imagination is what you are. You are a dimension
unto itself. We radiate our love. We radiate our pulse. Feel the pulse. Feel the heart, the universal beat that synchronizes all beings in love and light. Feel the pulse. We wash through you as you wash through us. We bid you the stars.
At this time, allow us to extend to you our deepest gratitude at our experience of you. And we thank you for your co-creation of our experience of ourselves. Our love to you all, and a fond good day.
Gotta go.
Was that galactic at the end, Daryl? Yes. Bashar announced Christmas, the week before Christmas Eve, that there would be energy representative of the collective consciousness of the entire association, which he labeled galactic, and that's what you heard there at the end, representative of the 360 planetary civilizations of which we are becoming members of.
Thank you all very much for being here tonight.
Come on, you deserve it. Thank you all. If you want a copy of tonight's tape, please see Pamela around the corner. And anything else, I'll be at the desk at the front. We'll be here next Thursday, and the next Thursday, and the next Thursday.